Hey everyone, for today's video I wanted to talk about nutrition and show you guys how to read one of these things. It's called a nutrition index, and you will find it in many different forms, but they'll be on the backs of almost any food that you buy at the grocery store, even things like fruit. It'll have all that information there, and not a lot of people know how to utilize this information, which is kind of sad because nutrition is tied to everything about your body, to your hair and fingernails and skin, mental health, gut health, stress levels, energy levels, heart health, blood pressure. I could go on, but I think you guys get the idea about how important this is. And a lot of people know, they have a thought when they say, okay, let's be healthy, you know, they try to eat more veggies or eat less food altogether, which please guys, don't do that. If you're trying to be healthy, that just doesn't work. But the best way to eat healthy is to know what's going in your body. So reason number one, guys, why it's so important to know how to read one of these is because food companies aren't legally obligated to be honest about their labels and advertising. They could say, you know, low fat, low calorie, gluten-free, and the product that's inside of that package might not actually be those things. And there's no legal repercussions. No one can sue them if they get called out on a lie. Good ways to kind of avoid that. There are third-party companies that will double check different products to verify that they are what it says it is. And this is a good example. They will always have a little certification somewhere on the package that verifies that yes, this is gluten-free. And if you're ever wondering if it actually, because you know they can still put that little symbol on there, these companies will have a website that has a list of all of the foods that they have certified. And number two is that food companies will often do sneaky things like just adjusting the serving size or maybe adding a little bit of water to make something low fat when they're really not changing anything about the product. A good example of that is like a bag of chips, you know, small bag of chips. Most people will eat a whole bag in one sitting, which is fine. But when you're looking at what they say the calorie count for one serving size is, you know, 160 calories, you're thinking to yourself, oh, one serving size has got to be the whole bag, right? And that's the whole bag, guys. So that's just another way they just cut the serving size, cut the calories, make you think it's healthier for you without really changing anything at all. All right, next reason that when foods are labeled as bad, and this often comes from a peer-reviewed study that says, you know, carbs are bad, and then everybody jumps on the bandwagon. Or there's that fad diet that's going around that, you know, has something in it that is bad and must be avoided at all costs. And then everybody just runs with it. They say, you know, we're not eating this anymore. And I'm talking about stuff like fats or carbs, even sodium, sugars, or just calories in general. And I will say, guys, that there are people out there with health conditions that do need to avoid these products or these foods, but that decision is between an individual and their doctor and not the general public. But oftentimes when food companies trying to hop onto the hype or take advantage of the hype will, you know, take out, say, fat, but it changes the texture of their product and people don't like it. It doesn't feel right or it's disgusting, and so they need to add fillers or artificial preservatives and such to make things more palatable to people so that they'll buy them. And these fillers and flavors are oftentimes worse for you than the actual food that you're trying to avoid. All right, and along with that are, like I said, fad diets. Every other year or so, a new fad diet comes around that everybody swears is the holy grail of diets that will magically make you lose 30 pounds in a month or a week or whatever. And doesn't always happen. Diets really are not something that I'm a big fan of, but examples being like, you know, the keto diet or the paleo diet, even Atkins or Weight Watchers, or I'm sure everyone's favorite, vegan. And there's nothing inherently wrong with these diet guys, it's just the hype that goes into them. Everybody wants to take advantage of it, and food companies are no exception, and they try to cater, you know, products to whatever everyone's excited about at the time. An example being, you know, 10 years ago, gluten-free was kind of the thing. Nobody could really find anything that was gluten-free, or if they did, it wasn't really very good. And now you can almost go into any store and there's a whole aisle or shelf dedicated to just gluten-free. And my last reason, guys, is food companies are in constant competition with each other, trying to outdo each other so that you'll spend money on their products and not the competitors. They'll say that, that theirs tastes better, or it's healthier, or less calories, or it's clean. It's the new thing now, I think, is clean food. The truth is that they'll be pretty much the same between competitors. And a good example of this is protein powder. Every health company or gym, they have a line of protein powder that they say is better than somebody else's. Or they'll say, avoid this brand because it's full of fillers and whatnot. There's only 3 facilities in the US that make the ingredients that go into protein powder. So yeah, maybe one company gets from one processing plant and another company gets from another, but because there's so few in the United States, pretty much any protein powder that you get is the same. So, and that's not just in protein powder, guys, that's with almost anything. Bottom line, food companies cannot be trusted with your health. You have to be, and you have to be informed about what's going into your body. And the best, most effective way is to know how to read one of these. And so look for my next video, part 2. We're going to go through each one of these categories and learn how to read these things.